All right, storms over the weekend bringing numerous tornadoes across the region. We also had lots of damage caused by straight line winds. This is some of the drone footage from our sister station WAFF out of Huntsville from the damage across the city of Athens. National Weather Service in Huntsville confirming an EF1 tornado in that area with maximum winds of up to 100 miles per hour. And that tornado traveled about 160 yards. But it was a challenging, very active night, but a challenging night with respect to watching the radar. You get these wintertime systems. Tania joining us here, and there's embedded tornadoes. We talked Saturday night. I mentioned when we were covering those storms, I said some of these severe thunderstorms may produce a tornado even though you don't have a tornado warning.
That is true. That's why we had to pay very close attention in general, and I'm so glad that you and Lauren were able to give people the updates throughout the entire night. We had wall-to-wall coverage covering those tornadoes that started off in Mississippi and came through our area. It was very, very active weather overnight.
Yeah, certainly a very
late night.
Active late night, and it looks like the things are not going to slow down for us as we move ahead. Let's go to what is next here. I want to get you set for a lot of changes here as we count it down. Hey, it'll be here before long. It's hard to believe we're talking 2025. But what's next? A few showers possible to the north tonight. We have a cold front on the way. Windy conditions coming up for tomorrow. We have a chance for rain and storms by next Monday. Any snow possible next week. This is the talk on social media right now, and we've been giving you that first alert for the possibility of a significant cold snap later next week. And a lot of times this is when that comes throughout the year. We have one or two periods where we deal with some real big-time cold Arctic air, and it looks like the cold air is about to break away from the polar vortex, as we call it. Some of that colder air spilling southward in the next week across not only our area, but a good portion of the country. We'll be dealing with some freezing temperatures later next week. How cold for us? We could see lows possibly in the single digits, maybe some negative digit wind chill values perhaps towards the end of next week. It's possible, but just plan for some significant cold and a freeze threat later next week. Now, we're not seeing enough evidence to support the possibility of wintry precipitation, but with this kind of cold, it doesn't take much moisture. So we need to be watching for any signals that we could see some wintry precipitation next week. The models have actually been back and forth, showing maybe a chance of snow late next week, maybe no chance of snow. So we just have to watch it. But at this point, we don't have an official forecast for any wintry precipitation, but certainly the wintry cold coming up later next week. Here's AccuTrack right now. We're in the 50s. We do have a cold front on the way tonight, and I mentioned it may generate a couple of showers, greater chances for seeing some of those in areas to the north. And you can see it's not a lot of rain, but here it comes overnight and into the early morning. One of those nights where if you have the grill cover you need to put on or anything that you need to keep dry, any building supplies, perhaps just make sure everything's covered up tonight from some wet weather, some showers into early tomorrow morning. It's not a lot of rain, but it moves out early in the day. And then the wind speeds pick up, and Matt talked about this, and Megan earlier today could have some gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour, so plan for that tomorrow. It won't be a steady all-day sustained wind like that, but just some high wind gusts possible for tomorrow. 2 o'clock in the morning, you can see those winds start to pick up, so you may notice it becomes quite blustery there during the overnight. And look at tomorrow, 9 in the morning, that's showing some wind gusts over 30 miles per hour, so it could be whipping out there as far as the winds tomorrow. And again, the next freeze looks like that's going to happen as that colder air spills in by early Thursday morning. And then next week's when we're going to be talking about the much colder air that is on the way. But we talked about that active weekend. We're coming off of an active weekend. We did have several severe thunderstorm warnings, and some of those where we actually had severe thunderstorm warnings but not tornado warnings, we ended up with confirmed tornadoes in a couple of areas. But there were warnings. The National Weather Service in Birmingham, they've been all across the state. They're continuing with surveys and just adding to some of the numbers that we talked about. There was a tornado that was confirmed that was to the west of Vernon. It was an EF1 tornado, again with those winds up to around 100 miles per hour like what we saw in Athens, an EF1 tornado west of Vernon. Shelby County near the Harpersville area, also a tornado that was rated EF0. Lowndes County, Alabama, of course that's south of our coverage area, but an EF0. But that is from the Birmingham National Weather Service office and their coverage area. But you can see here more of those numbers there on the screen. Limestone County also in the Huntsville area, that's the EF1. And in Mobile County, looks like also a EF0 from the National Weather Service down in Mobile. So it was a Okay, so I'm just getting word here that the Weather Service, they're just now confirming EF0 in Harpersville and Logan Martin Lake. So now we have a new number in, and also an EF1 tornado southwest of Pell City. A lot of you were sending me some pictures from the Cropwell area just south of Logan Martin, and we ended up with some damage there, so that was a tornado. So just in a first alert there, some breaking news here on Weather Extra on those storm surveys, but the Weather Service, they're continuing again to gather reports, and we're just now receiving some of that information. But as many people are cleaning up after those powerful storms, your reporter Brady Talbert surveyed the damage that was in St. Clair County as homeowners try to figure out what's next.
Yeah, families here near Logan Martin Dam are in the process of cleaning up. You can see large trees have fallen on people's docks, and across the lake we're seeing widespread damage. From our drone, you can see mobile homes are damaged and crews are working to restore power.
The damage was substantial. You just don't think about the things like this happening to your place.
More than 16,000 Alabama Power customers were without power on Sunday. St. Clair County was one of the most impacted spots. That's where the family of WBRC's Creative Services Director, Jonathan Smith, owns lakeside property. His family wasn't home, however, some neighbors were.
We have a storm shelter right across from our trailer right here, but they were actually on their way here. And he said that when he got his wife up to go in a matter of minutes, he said it sounded like trains, horns, and then he was like, it was over within an instant.
Thankfully, Smith says none of the neighbors were injured, but they are left with a big mess.
8-foot round tree trunks, lying in the ground, and a deck that is solid as it gets, into pieces. And across the lake, what's weird is it looks like it literally jumped, and you got trailers just gone.
For now, the family is cleaning up and plans to rebuild. Smith was watching WBRC during the storm. Now he's walking away with new perspective.
You cannot let your guard down and be complacent. When we declare a first alert weather day, we need to take that stuff serious. We need to have a plan in place, and we need to be prepared and pay attention. It can happen at an instant, and it can happen anywhere.
Even in your own backyard. Your reporter in St. Clair County, Brady Talbert, WBRC 6 News, on your side.
And in Harpersville, the arena at El Gazeria Riding Academy was damaged the most during this weekend's storms. Straight line winds of up to 80 miles per hour brought significant structural damage to several facilities. Cars were destroyed and roofs were blown off several buildings. And get this, a tree fell on top of one of the barns. Workers at the academy are grateful to those who have already reached out to help, but are still in need of extra hands and donations as they work to repair and rebuild. And now is the perfect time to download the WBRC First Alert Weather app ahead of our next severe weather threat. You can get real-time updates for your neighborhood. It's free in your phone's app store. Well, this same storm system brought damage to other southern states over the weekend. Taking you across the country now to Texas, where Montgomery County is beginning the cleanup process today after being impacted by a powerful EF3 tornado. It left behind immense damage in Porter Heights. 8 to 10 people experienced minor injuries, according to Montgomery County emergency officials. An estimated 302 buildings suffered damage, with 30 being destroyed. Some groups willing to help others physically and emotionally cope with the aftermath.
This is bad, but people will recover. This community is tight, so we're seeing that a lot. These are mostly people that are out. They're not getting paid to be here. This is volunteers. That our entire team is volunteers.
And the volunteers spent the day cutting down trees, but they're not the only ones at work. Energy and other contractors are continuing their work to restore power to those who need it. And in Mississippi, thousands are in recovery mode after severe storms tear through the state over the weekend as well. There were reports of damage in 14 counties with 2 fatalities and 10 people being injured. Check out this footage from our sister station WDAM in Hattiesburg of the damage left behind. Several homes and businesses were hit hard by the storms, and so far, according to the reports, Wayne County took the most damage with 33 homes hit and 1 business along with a farm. And here's a look at one of those possible tornadoes caught on drone footage from our sister station WLBT out of Jackson, Mississippi. Hunter McDowell catching the video as it traveled through Franklin and Lincoln County Saturday evening. But of course, in Alabama, the weather can flip on the dime. So in 30 seconds, we're taking you to the potential and talking about the freezing temperatures as we head into the first full week of 2025. We'll be right back with more First Alert Weather Extra. Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Tania Michelle. Are you guys excited for the new year? I know I am. It's always a good time for a fresh start, reiterating those goals, but we have to tell you what to expect as we bring in the new year because the forecast, as we mentioned, is ever changing. Good news is we're holding on to dry conditions for your Tuesday evening. It will be chilly. If you have any New Year's Eve late night plans as you bring in the new year, well, grab the sweater and the jacket with temperatures in the 40s, low 40s by midnight. Overnight temps could be in the upper 30s for many areas across central Alabama, bringing in January 1st. We'll see winds a little breezy throughout your Tuesday. Shouldn't be too bad Tuesday night, but I would highly suggest bringing all the extra layers you can because the slightest breeze will make it feel colder as you are out and about. Well, we'll have a full look at that 7-day forecast and eventually that 10-day forecast and taking you beyond the 7-day to show you any cold weather that we're expecting as we bring in the new year. Wes.
All right, cold is the word, Tania, and everybody now getting on board with our first alert for the cold. You can see the Climate Prediction Center now high confidence level in those below average temperatures, and this is what we've been telling you about. A big drop in those temperatures coming up this week. We're going to have freezing conditions by Thursday morning. Don't want to lose sight of that, but next week we have the possibility later in the week of seeing those temperatures down into the teens, single digits perhaps, and the kind of cold where we could stay below freezing for more than a day, and you want to make sure that you have everything properly winterized for the possibility of a significant drop in those temperatures. Now, what we're seeing is a big shift in the upper air pattern across the polar regions, and this happens from time to time. You hear about the polar vortex, and when that starts to slide, we get cross-polar flow, and that Arctic air is able to spill southward. And on top of that, if we have a big snowpack, which we do have a lot of snow that will be setting up across the country, that maintains that cold air as it moves south. So with those kind of ingredients in place, those numbers will likely go very low for the end of the week. In fact, the wind chill values, now this will likely change, but you don't see numbers like this all the time in the forecast guidance. We could actually have readings down into the negative range on those wind chills towards the end of next week. So that's in the long range. A lot to track though between now and then that we're going to talk about, but here to take a deep dive on those different weather forecast models that we're using to track the trends and why winter weather forecasting can be tricky are meteorologist Matt Daniel and Megan Thomas.
So Megan,
yes, Matt.
Social media has been crazy, and it always happens during the winter time. Snowstorms, craziness. We've seen it all.
We have, and people have been posting images like this one saying this is what Alabama is going to look like in about a week. And what we can say is it's to be determined. So what we look at are long-range models, and you're going to go into how we can forecast that. But I'm going to show you two different model runs from last night and then from this morning and show you how they completely just one says one thing and one says the other. So let's start with last night, okay?
Let's do it.
So this is what we call the 0Z model run of the global forecast model, okay? So it gives that bigger picture. I want you to keep in mind, this is the time frame of next Thursday. So even further from this Thursday, so we're a good 10 plus days away, right?
That's far out.
Long time from now to get really nitty gritty and specific. And this model, at this model run, has just clouds in place. It doesn't even pick up much rain in the picture for the weekend of the 8th, 9th, and the 10th, okay? Now, I'm going to show you the model run from this morning.
Okay.
This is where things get a little iffy, okay? This is Thursday, again, 1 week from this coming Thursday. Look at this front. You watching, Matt?
I'm watching.
You watching at home? It brings in a whole lot of snow across the state. Two of the same models, different time runs, different information, and it's still printing that snow could be falling between Thursday and Friday of next week. So again, this is many days away. The forecast is going to be an ever-changing situation, but what we do know, it's going to be cold.
Right.
It is.
So there's ways we make those forecasts when it comes to winter weather. So when you're this far out in time, we're talking 6, 8, in this case 10 days away. We're just paying attention. We're looking at trends. That was just one model she was showing. There's the European model, there's a Canadian model, there's a lot. We look at all of them, right? And so we're just paying attention. We're observing those patterns. So right now, we're pretty confident it's going to be really cold.
That's what we are confident about. We can tell you it is going to be downright cold heading into the first full week of January.
So this is where we're at right now. We're still far away. There's no exact forecast. We're not telling you it's going to snow. We know it's going to be cold. Obviously, if there's a storm nearby, there's a chance. So there's a chance. If you like winter, there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
There's a chance. And then when we get within 4 to 5 days, like let's say we get to this weekend and then we're looking ahead. That's when we're looking for consistency. So if those two model runs were starting to show the same thing, then our confidence is going up, right? And if they weren't, we're like,
I don't know.
We don't really know. Does it even make sense, right? Then when we get to 2 to 3 days, that's when we really get down to it. We're getting more confident or less confident on what's going on. And then we have to determine a lot of different things. Is it going to snow? Is it going to be sleet? Is it going to be freezing rain? Cold rain?
And listen,
yeah,
we have lived in Alabama long enough, you know, and it takes a lot for it to get a good snow around here. So.
And that's very tricky. And also just determining, you know, is it going to be snowing in Birmingham or is it going to be just Coleman and North? It's very complicated. And then as we get to about 1 day out, that's when we have that call to action. That's when we get ready and prepared. And we tell you about those actual impacts, accumulations, all of that. But we're not anywhere near that. So for now, if you see that social media buzz, the hype, time out, pause, breathe. Don't get worried, don't get worked up. But as we were saying, it's going to get cold.
Yeah, no need to go ahead and buy the bread and the milk, right?
Unless you need it.
I would go ahead and grab the jacket. That's what we know for sure. And of course, over the next week, 10 days, we will have a better fine-tuned forecast to share with you all.
And welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Here's a look at what is next. We have showers possible to the north, windy conditions for tomorrow, and it looks like some rain and storms coming back by Sunday and into Monday of next week. Can we see any snow next week? Well, too soon to know. We are seeing a significant freeze threat coming up towards the end of next week that we're watching out for. I'd certainly take advantage if you're still off for the next few days. Check around the house. Make sure you have those faucet covers nearby, because it looks like we're going to have to prepare for some pipe bursting kind of cold coming up for next week. As we go to First Alert AccuTrack, you can see 59 right now at Birmingham. No rain showing up on radar at the moment, but that could change later on tonight. As we go to the next 24, you can see a chance for some showers that will be coming back later tonight and into early tomorrow, because we do have another cold front on the way. And as that front drops in, it's going to bring some showers tonight, and that's why those winds pick up tomorrow. So plan for the possibility of some wet weather for tonight. We will stay above freezing tonight. We won't see a sudden drop in temperatures, but tomorrow during the day, as the rain moves out, we have highs reaching into the 50s, but notice the colder air starts to slide southward, maybe with some clouds as well tomorrow night for New Year's Eve. But I'd plan for jacket weather. It looks like most of us, though, will stay above freezing, at least into New Year's Day during the morning. Now, by Thursday morning, we'll likely see freezing conditions coming back. So still a couple of mornings before we get back into that freezing range. I wouldn't be too worried tonight about making sure those sensitive plants are protected from a hard freeze, because we won't be seeing that at least through New Year's Day. It's going to be coming up on Thursday. But as we look ahead, the rest of the week's actually pretty quiet until we get into the weekend. And by Sunday, there's another system, another cold front that is on the way. Might end up with some wintry precipitation over places like Tennessee. But one thing I'm watching, and what we see a lot of this time of the year, is these systems trend north. And it wouldn't surprise me if we did see a risk for some strong storms pop up over the region. Maybe not here, but maybe perhaps across South Alabama. So a first alert. That would be Sunday into Monday and next week, something that we are watching. But as we go to the 10-day forecast in the long range, notice how we have temperatures taking a big tumble into next week. And as we go over to some of the long range models, as we were talking, we were showing you some of the European guidance and the GFS model earlier with Megan and Matt. You can see that we're still not seeing a clear signal of a winter storm across the region, but the one thing that we are starting to see is that significant drop in temperatures that will be coming up towards the end of next week. This is again showing that system there on Monday, and then we'll be talking about a drop in temperatures after this into the end of next week. So we'll be back with another check on the 10-day forecast, so we continue right here on Weather Extra. All right, how about some weather photos, Tania?
Ooh, Carolyn, gold sunset in Clanton. Pretty sky.
Yeah, Mike Jackson, a nice little sunset in Shades Crest. But it was a beautiful day out there today.
Oh, absolutely
incredible.
gorgeous. The temperatures weren't too bad, but hey, it's getting cold later on this week.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Ross, with a nice sunset over Gurley, Alabama.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Cows are standing, so no rain.
Right. And then we have one more. This last one is from Thomas Sperling, Clouds in Rainbow City. How beautiful is that?
Yeah, we'll take those photos over what we were seeing on Saturday anytime.
100%.
But listen.
A lot quieter this week.
Yeah.
As far as storms.
As far as storms go.
Yes.
Now, we will have a little sort of a tranquil period there Thursday and Friday, some colder mornings, freezing temperatures coming back. A lot of talk, though, about next week, and it's still way out there, a lot that we'll be tracking. But, of course, you know we'll have plenty of updates.
We sure will. Tonight, first at 9. Have a wonderful evening. See you back here tonight. The snow. Yeah. Hey, you ready already? Man, you're fast. I'm coming. All right. I'm ready in 3, 2. Hey there, everyone. First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle here. Here's a look at that 10-day forecast. We are tracking some colder conditions later this week, but the good news is we're still staying fairly mild for your New Year's Day afternoon. But notice early Wednesday morning, we have some temperatures down in the 30s. Going to be chilly out there starting off the first day of 2025. So bring out the heavy coat, the sweaters, and the jackets for any late night New Year's plans. But the good news is we're staying dry. We'll be a little windy for your Tuesday. Winds calming down for us later this week. Quieter weather with lots of sunshine around for your Friday. Looking cooler for the weekend just before our next chance for rain. We'll see some increasing clouds Saturday with rain and possible storms Sunday night and into your Monday. We'll see that greatest rain chance early Monday morning. Temperatures warming up slightly, but notice dropping right back down. And we could see temperatures struggling to reach the low 40s as we bring in the first full week of 2025. Get more updates on your favorite streaming platform, or you can find updates on the WBRC First Alert weather app.